Dear Anne, this is me, Leib. My grandfather Buddy was your favorite cousin, which makes you my distant cousin. You've always been a part of my life, and I feel the responsibility to keep your story alive and make a difference today. I've seen your life in Amsterdam, and I was in the secret annex where you tried to be invisible for over 2 years. But you were discovered and transported to the transit camp Westerbork. Dear Anne, it was the 761st day of your hiding. It must have felt like any other day in the annex. You were probably reading, writing, or studying when, around 11 in the morning, without warning, your secret world collapsed.
J'étais au grenier avec Peter et subitement, un homme arrivait au grenier avec un revolver. Préparez vos bagages, il faut partir. Alors tout le monde était calme, personne parlait. On avait le temps pour préparer un peu et un wagon venait pour nous emporter aux prisons.
Anne n'a pas songé à prendre son journal avec elle?
Non, personne n'a pensé à des choses pareilles. Non, je ne crois pas même qu'elle a pensé à son journal à ce moment-là. C'est impossible.
They dragged you to a police station for interrogation. They wanted to know if you knew other Jewish people in hiding. How could you have known? You'd been inside the annex for 25 months. A few days later, you were transported to Amsterdam Central Station. It was a 5-hour train trip on an ordinary passenger train. Later, your father said that you liked the train ride, even though your future was uncertain. You finally got to see the outside world for the first time in years.
Hallo.
Hi, wie geht's dir?
Wie geht's?
Dir geht's okay?
Und dir?
Ja, auch. Wir waren gerade in Amsterdam und jetzt fahren wir nach Westerbork zu den Camps.
Oh wow, schon so weit. Seid ihr schon wieder fertig in Amsterdam?
Es war mega schön, einfach auch zu merken, wie glücklich Anne in Amsterdam war. Und wie ihr Leben da so einen Sinn hatte.
Ja, nach Frankfurt war das ihr neues Zuhause und als Kind willst du dich ja auch irgendwie zugehörig fühlen.
Wenn wir Amsterdam verlassen, wo aus ihr als Einzelperson, sie verschwindet. Also wir verlieren so ihren Weg, weil sie aufgehört hat, Tagebuch zu schreiben, weil sie einfach eine von Tausenden, von Zehntausenden von Opfern wird.
Ja, es gibt einzelne Erzählungen, aber vieles bleibt ungewiss.
Dear Anne, I've always wondered how your diary would have continued if you had been able to bring it with you. There's not much left of the camp in Westerbork. Nature has erased almost all traces of the past. That's a far cry from what you saw here. When you arrived, you had to be registered and were forced to hand over your belongings and your clothes. You were probably glad you didn't bring your diary, since they would have taken it. You had to strip naked to be inspected for contagious diseases and head lice. How humiliated you must have felt, stripped naked in front of strangers. Here I met Eva. She arrived in Westerbork in 1942 when she was just 6 years old. She survived here for 3 years until the end of the war.
My parents had told me we are going to move to another city. And I'm an only child, and I was quite excited. And we took our luggage, but my parents didn't take much. I didn't know they were not allowed to take much. And I had my doll with me. That was important for me. It was cold as hell. And we had to walk 6 kilometers. And then that was the first time that I said to my mother, I don't think I want to move. I don't want to walk all that way. And then she said, come on, dear. We'll have a look what it is like. And if it's not right, we go away. That's what she said during all these years. She was lying to me, and I'm very grateful. And then she said, and tomorrow you can go to school. There were schools here. Next day I went to school and I was happy. This camp was a unique camp. Unique in a sense that children went to school up to 12 years. After that, they had to work. There was distraction in the evening. You could go to a concert, you could keep lectures. There was a theater, and there was the hospital. Thanks to the commander, who was a shrewd criminal, Nazi officer, who thought, I want everything to go smoothly. I don't want people to resist. I don't want them to try to escape. I want to see that they are not doubting what is happening to them in the East, because the purpose was to kill them all.
The commander's house is one of the few buildings still intact in Westerbork. There's something sinister about it. It feels eerie to be in the home of the man who was complicit in the deportation and murder of around 80,000 Jews. Later, this camp became known as the Gateway to Hell. It's strange to stand here and think how normal his house and life looked, knowing the evil behind it.
The historians concluded that his method worked, and people believed him. It's incredible.
He made Westerbork seem almost normal. Even you, Anne, thought that for a while.
Elle était gaie, parce qu'elle pouvait se promener, elle retrouvait des jeunes gens, elle pouvait parler de tout le monde, avec tout le monde. Et dans ce camp-là, ce n'était pas trop mauvais, parce qu'on devait travailler un peu. Et le soir, on était ensemble. Et alors, on était très heureux là.
You must have had so many conflicting feelings here. You were still a teenager, and as teenagers we all have hopes and worries and want to discover life. But you were brought to a place that took all of this away. Based on letters and survivor testimonies, a play was created that portrays the lives of young people in the camp. It's called Anne and the Others.
It's strange to use these words, but there was kind of an active sort of nightlife. I mean, you would have had a bunch of friend groups and peer pressure.
Was that something you portrayed in the play as well, the happy times also?
I think that might have been the most important thing that we tried focusing on. The way that people can really come together and friendships and being free. I think that's something we really tried to do. A lot of happy coloring on top of an otherwise terrible story. I was curious, like, do you actively think about Anne often in your own life?
Growing up, I feel like her story in her diary touches me differently every time I read it, and I feel like the story is so powerful that everyone can just pick what touches them the most, and there's many things, so I guess that's also a reason why people can relate to her story, because it's so wide about, there's many topics in it. But also, when my grandfather was still alive, he would talk so much about her that I felt it was an urge of him to actively speak about her. So she was always there in my life. It was clear that people were thinking, oh, if this is what everyone talks about, as in Jews have to be sent to the East or have to be sent to camps, or any kind of minority has to be sent to camps, then this is not bad. And that was exactly what Vesterbork was about, to make the people calm down, to make them think that nothing bad is going to happen to them so they can be sent further on. And I mean, how horrible is that? How can you even think of an idea like that, to make sure they're quiet? I'm wondering if Anna thought the same. I know that she was happy there. I know that people recall her being happy here. Probably one of the last times in her life.